All right, let's dive right in. We are tackling some seriously cool stuff today. You
Hmm.
know, all those resources you've been collecting about like boosting your well-being and igniting a more positive outlook.
Yeah, it's a treasure trove,
Yeah.
really, full of practical and, research-backed strategies to really supercharge our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, just looking through it all, I'm already feeling a little bit brighter.
No kidding. It's amazing how much good stuff is packed in there, right? And you know what? As we were going through all of it, this really neat framework popped out. It's the 10 keys to happier living, and it spells out great dream.
Great dream. I love it.
Right. Think of it as a kind of like roadmap to genuinely feeling good. It covers all these amazing things, like how our emotions can seriously power us up, the incredible impact of our connections, and like how finding meaning can literally light us up from the inside out. That's what we're diving into today.
And the really fascinating thing is that these keys, giving, relating, exercising, awareness, trying out, direction, resilience, emotions, acceptance, and meaning they aren't like separate pieces.
Huh.
They're all woven together, each one influencing and strengthening the others on this journey towards, really feeling good.
Totally. So, our mission today is super clear and hopefully really inspiring to take all these awesome insights from the resources you shared, the stuff you can actually start using today to feel more energized, more hopeful, and just deeply content. So, ready to unpack all of this?
We'll do it.
Okay, perfect. Let's jump right in. Let's start with something pretty core to our energy levels,
Mm.
our emotions, especially those good ones.
It's actually fascinating. Emotions are way more than just the names we give those feelings. They trigger actual physiological shifts within us.
Mhm.
And when we're talking about those positive emotions, Barbara Fredrickson's broaden and build theory is really insightful.
Broaden and build. That sounds really interesting. How does that actually like boost our energy?
Okay, so her research shows that even short bursts of positive emotions, things like joy, gratitude, interest, they actually widen our perspective. Like we literally see more possibilities. We're more open to new ideas. We trust people more. And, it doesn't stop there. These little sparks of positivity, they actually accumulate over time, building up our mental and social resources. They make us more adaptable, better at solving problems, and even more resilient when things get rough.
Wow. So those little moments of happiness, they're not just like fleeting good vibes. They're actually investments in our future mental and emotional energy. That's pretty cool. But it's tough, right? Because our brains seem to be wired to zero in on the negative stuff. It's like we have a built-in radar for what might go wrong.
Right. There's a natural negativity bias in our brains. It's the leftover from our survival instincts way back when it was safer to, assume that a rustle in the bushes was a saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah.
Even though we're generally much safer these days, that tendency to focus on potential problems, it sticks around.
Yeah.
And it often makes us stressed about things that might never happen and miss out on all the good stuff going on around us.
It's like our brain automatically goes to the bad news first, even if there's plenty of good news happening too. So how do we actually train our brains to notice and really like amplify the positive? How do we really fuel that sense of optimism and energy?
That's where practicing mindfulness and positivity comes in. The three good things. Exercise is a great example, and it's surprisingly effective. Studies have shown that just taking a few minutes each night to think about and jot down three things that we enjoyed or were grateful for, or anything that brought us a little bit of joy, it can significantly increase our happiness and reduce those negative feelings.
Hmm.
And what's really amazing is that those positive effects can last for up to 6 months. It's like a tiny little nightly ritual that has a huge impact on our mental well-being.
Up to 6 months from just writing down three good things every day. Seriously, that's gotta be like the most efficient way to boost our energy and optimism. You should definitely give that a try. But what about when things aren't going well? What about those days when it feels like, there isn't much good to find?
Yeah. Those days happen to everyone, but even then, those little moments of positive emotions can act like a buffer, cushioning the blow of difficult situations. They can really help protect our mental well-being even when things are tough. Dr. Maria Soroy, she suggests that even on the toughest days, we try to pinpoint a best moment, even if it's, just the least bad thing that happened.
I like that. It's about actively seeking out even the tiniest glimmer of light, even when things feel dark. And speaking of finding the good, one emotion that really stands out in all these resources is gratitude. It seems like a real powerhouse for cultivating optimism and energy.
Absolutely. Gratitude, that feeling of thankfulness for what we have, it's a cornerstone of happiness and a major energy booster. Research shows it's linked to tons of benefits. More happiness, optimism, resilience, even better physical health. It can even help us feel less materialistic and less lonely, which clears up mental space for more good stuff.
And it's not just about how we feel individually, right? It seems like gratitude is really good for our connections with others.
Exactly. When we feel grateful, we're more likely to be kind, generous, and compassionate. It strengthens our relationships because it makes people feel appreciated and builds trust. And the best part is, even if we don't feel naturally grateful all the time, it's a quality we can definitely cultivate.
So how do we get better at tapping into that?
One simple but powerful exercise is to spend a few minutes each night thinking about 3 good things that happened because of other people, and then write them down, like this. I'm grateful to person for what they did. It's a little shift in focus that can make a huge difference in our overall mood. And there's so many other positive emotions we can cultivate too. Joy, serenity, contentment, curiosity, hope, pride, amusement, inspiration, awe, even love. Each of them connects back to those 10 keys in their own unique way.
So we're actively looking for the good, practicing gratitude. What's next? I saw something in these resources about savoring. What's that all about?
Savoring. It's all about really amplifying those positive experiences. It's like, we consciously choose to pay attention to, appreciate, and really make those good moments last. It's mindfulness, but for good vibes.
So it's not just letting a good moment happen, but like fully immersing ourselves in it.
Exactly. We notice all the details, the sights, the sounds, the smells, how it feels, our thoughts and emotions, really soaking in the good stuff. And, studies have shown it can seriously boost our positive emotions, help us feel more in control, even improve our work-life balance. And we can savor not just the present, but the past and future, too.
So thinking about good memories or looking forward to something fun can be an energy boost too.
Totally. Try spending a few minutes each day for a few days, just like replaying a happy memory in your mind, all the details, where you were, who you were with, how you felt. For savoring the present, try going for a walk and noticing as many good things as you can, and focus on what makes each of those things enjoyable.
Those are really great tips. Anyone can try those. Now, we've been talking a lot about good emotions, but what about the not so good ones?
Right. Well, even those, fear, sadness, anger, they all serve a purpose if they're appropriate to the situation. The key is not to get stuck there, but to learn from them and move forward.
It's like acknowledging them, listening to their message, and then shifting back to the positive. Makes sense. Okay, we've covered a lot about emotions. Let's move on to another key, our connections with other people.
Absolutely. This is huge, right? Feeling connected to others, partners, family, friends, whoever, is so important for our happiness, our resilience, our energy. It gives us love, support, a sense of belonging. And the research shows that strong relationships are linked to better health and even a longer lifespan. Talk about an energy boost.
Yeah, I read somewhere that strong social connections are linked to a stronger immune system and a lower risk of heart disease. That's pretty amazing.
It is. And you know what? It's a two-way street. Good relationships make us happier, and happier people tend to have stronger relationships. It's like this awesome positive feedback loop.
So basically, by investing in our relationships, we're actually investing in our own energy levels and happiness.
Exactly. So what makes these connections truly energizing? Well, responsiveness is key. It's that feeling of being understood, validated, cared for, like someone really gets you, good and bad. Active listening and genuine interest in other people's lives, those are the building blocks.
And on the flip side, there's loneliness. It's more than just being physically alone, right? It's a feeling, and it can really zap our energy.
You got it. Loneliness is like a signal that we need connection, just like hunger tells us we need food. And just like not eating can harm us, long-term loneliness can be really damaging. So even if it's hard, taking steps to connect with others is crucial.
And it's not just our close friends and family, right? It's also about our community, our sense of belonging to something bigger.
For sure. Those broader connections give us a sense of belonging, safety, and even purpose. There are studies that suggest they can even influence how long we live and how well our immune systems function. So even small things, like saying hi to a neighbor, joining a local group, or volunteering, they can all make a difference.
Speaking of doing good for others, let's talk about giving. It seems kind of counterintuitive, but the resources you shared suggest that helping others actually boosts our own happiness and energy.
It does sound counterintuitive, doesn't it? But it's true. When we do something nice for someone else, it triggers those reward centers in our brains, giving us a genuine feel-good boost. It also takes our minds off our own worries and helps us feel more connected to the world around us. And, every act of kindness, big or small, counts.
So it's not just about those huge, grand acts of charity.
Nope, not at all. It could be a simple compliment, offering a helping hand, giving someone the benefit of the doubt. They all add up. And the science backs it up. Helping others leads to more positive emotions, a sense of meaning, less stress, even potentially a longer, happier life.
Okay, that's a pretty impressive list of benefits. But I noticed something in the sources about the way we give. It matters, right? It's not just about doing any random act of kindness.
You're right. To really get the most out of giving, it's got to be something we choose to do, something where we can see that we're making a difference. It should feel good and connect us to others, not like an obligation or a chore.
And you know what else is cool? It creates this ripple effect. Like when we see someone being kind, it makes us more likely to be kind too.
Right. And it goes even further.
Right.
When we express gratitude for the help we receive, it keeps that positive cycle going.
It's like a chain reaction of positive energy and good vibes. And it's okay to ask for help too, right? Sometimes letting others give can benefit everyone involved.
Absolutely. When we ask for help, we give someone else the chance to experience that joy of giving. It builds connection and creates this sense of community. And, it's not just for when we're struggling. We can ask for help to learn something new, to connect on a deeper level, or even just to share an experience.
That's a great way to look at it. But we do need to be mindful of not giving so much that we deplete ourselves, right? It's got to be sustainable.
Definitely. Feeling obligated or burdened by giving can backfire. We've got to find a good balance between our needs and those of others. This is where sustainable giving comes in. It's about finding ways to help that we genuinely enjoy, that fit our strengths, and that feel truly meaningful.
Okay, so we've explored positive emotions and the power of connection. Let's move on to building inner strength. The 10 Keys framework calls these acceptance and resilience crucial for staying positive and energetic through the ups and downs of life.
Absolutely. These are the foundation for navigating challenges while staying grounded and energized. So let's start with acceptance. It's about being comfortable with who you are, embracing both your strengths and your weaknesses, meeting yourself where you are with kindness.
It's about being real, flaws and all, instead of chasing some impossible idea of perfection.
Exactly. Self-acceptance leads to greater happiness, personal growth, and more genuine relationships. It doesn't mean we won't feel bad when we mess up, but it means we won't beat ourselves up over it.
So it's different from self-esteem, right? Self-esteem can feel kind of fragile, like it depends on what other people think.
Good point. Self-acceptance is about that deep, unconditional love for ourselves, regardless of our flaws. Self-esteem is often based on how we measure up to others, which can be really unstable.
So self-acceptance is a more solid foundation for our well-being.
Exactly. It's the starting point for genuine growth. And one really powerful way to cultivate self-acceptance is through self-compassion.
Self-compassion, it's like treating ourselves with the same kindness we'd offer a friend.
Exactly. Think about how you'd talk to a friend who messed up. Would you be super harsh and judgmental? Probably not. But we often do that to ourselves. That inner critic is so damaging to our self-esteem and drains our energy.
Yeah, it really chips away at our confidence and makes us afraid to try new things.
Totally. Cultivating a kinder inner voice like a wise friend can make a huge difference. It's not about ignoring our mistakes, but about approaching ourselves with understanding.
So being kinder to ourselves actually gives us more strength and energy. Makes sense. And another important part of this inner strength seems to be focusing on what we're already good at our strengths.
Absolutely. We talked about negativity bias earlier. Well, we often focus on what we perceive as our weaknesses, but everyone has unique strengths, or talents, skills, interests, values, and resources. One really interesting area is character strengths. These are positive personality traits that are core to who we are and help us flourish.
Yeah, the VIA model. I remember seeing that.
Yes. The VIA model identifies 24 universal character strengths. Things like curiosity, kindness, gratitude, humor, perseverance. Knowing and using our strengths can make us happier, more confident, and less stressed. There was this fascinating study that showed that just using one of your top strengths in a new way every day for a week led to increased happiness and less unhappiness for 6 months.
6 months? Wow, that's pretty remarkable. So instead of just trying to fix our weaknesses, we can focus on what we're already good at and really amplify that.
Right, and then there are signature strengths. Those are the ones that are most core to our identity, the ones that energize us and come naturally. Identifying and using them can be transformative.
So basically, by understanding and using our strengths, we can actually navigate challenges more effectively and even compensate for our weaknesses, all while feeling more positive and energized.
I love that. Okay, let's talk about resilience. It's that ability to bounce back from tough times, and we all need that to stay optimistic and energized in the long run, right? For sure. Life throws curveballs at everyone. Resilience isn't about never experiencing difficult emotions, but about having healthy ways to cope, to learn, and to move on. And the great thing is, resilience isn't something you're born with. It's a skill you can learn.
So we can build our resilience muscles, so to speak.
You got it. We can learn techniques and habits to boost our natural resilience. One key aspect is active coping. It's about acknowledging problems instead of avoiding them, and then finding anything we can do to make the situation even a little bit better. Even small actions can help us feel more in control and hopeful.
That sense of agency, of doing something even when things feel overwhelming, is huge, isn't it?
It is. Having a sense of control is so important for our well-being. Even when we can't control the situation itself, we can often control how we respond. As Viktor Frankl said, we always have the freedom to choose our attitude.
And all the things we've been talking about, positive relationships, exercise, a positive outlook, they all contribute to our resilience too, right?
Absolutely. They build a foundation for resilience. And then there's resilient thinking. It's about understanding the link between our thoughts and emotions.
So how does that work, the connection between thoughts and resilience?
Okay, so when something happens, our first reaction is often emotional, right? But it's actually our thoughts about that event that trigger the emotion. These thoughts are often so fast we don't even notice them, but they can be really negative and unhelpful. Learning to spot and challenge those thoughts is a game changer for managing our emotions and building resilience.
So it's about questioning our automatic reactions and not taking them as facts.
Yes, we can ask ourselves things like, is this thought really true? Or is there another way to look at this situation? Our brains tend to jump to negative conclusions, but learning to look for alternatives can stop that downward spiral of negative emotions.
And the sources mentioned thinking traps that can sabotage our resilience. What are those?
Oh, those are the classic negative thought patterns that really drain our energy. Like blaming ourselves for everything, thinking bad things will last forever, assuming the worst will happen, mind reading, all or nothing thinking, catastrophizing. We all do these sometimes. The first step is recognizing them. Then we can start challenging them with evidence and more balanced perspectives.
Okay, so by becoming aware of those patterns, we can actually shift our thinking to be more constructive and positive. All right. We've talked a lot about our inner world and connections. Let's shift gears to growth and purpose. The 10 Keys framework calls these trying out, direction, and meaning. These seem like big sources of energy and optimism.
Definitely. These are all about engaging with the world, having something to look forward to, and feeling like we're part of something bigger. So let's start with trying out, being open to new experiences and learning throughout our lives.
That just sounds so energizing, right?
It is. Trying new things and learning keeps our minds sharp and engaged. It can bring us joy, connect us with others, make us feel more fulfilled, and even increase our life satisfaction. And you know what? Research shows that learning can actually create new brain cells and neural connections, keeping our minds young.
So, stepping outside our comfort zone and embracing new experiences isn't just good for personal growth, it's actually good for our brain health. Cool. How do we actually do this, though? What are some ways we can embrace trying out?
It can be simple things like learning a new skill, trying a new hobby, or even just a new recipe. The key is to have a mindset of openness and curiosity. Carol Dweck, a psychologist, talks about the growth mindset. That's where we see challenges and mistakes as opportunities to learn, not as failures. So instead of saying, I'm bad at this, we add the word yet.
I'm not good at this yet. I love
Yeah.
that. It completely changes how we look at the challenge. And what about flow? I've heard of that. It sounds like a really powerful and energizing state of mind.
Yes. Flow is that state of being completely absorbed in something, where time just seems to fly by. It happens when our skills are perfectly matched to the challenge. Hobbies are a great way to experience flow, things like playing music, sports, creative arts, even puzzles. When we find activities that really captivate us, it can be incredibly rewarding and energizing.
So basically, finding and doing things that really engage our attention can bring us a lot of joy and fulfillment. And our natural curiosity plays a big role in this trying out key too, right?
It does. Curiosity is linked to happiness, fulfillment, and even longevity. It's what drives us to explore new things and learn new things, and it fuels creative thinking. To cultivate curiosity, try asking yourself what, why, how, where, and who when you encounter new things, or try looking at familiar things with fresh eyes, as if for the first time.
It's like staying curious and playful and always open to learning something new. Awesome. Let's talk about direction, having goals to look forward to. How does that impact our present day happiness and energy?
Having a sense of direction, being optimistic, and feeling hopeful about the future actually influences how we feel right now. Being optimistic is linked to positive emotions, self-confidence, and even better health outcomes. Hope is also really important, having goals, feeling motivated to reach them, and believing we can find ways to get there.
It's not just about hoping for the best, but actively shaping our future in a way that makes us feel good. How can we cultivate that?
One great exercise is the best possible life visualization. You take some time to imagine your ideal life 5 or 10 years from now, and you really go into detail. Then you write about this vision, and then you try writing a letter to your present self from your future self, offering encouragement and advice. Setting small, achievable goals right now and planning how to overcome obstacles can also really boost your sense of hope and belief in your ability to create a positive future.
I love that idea. So, what makes a goal really effective at boosting happiness and energy? What are the qualities of a good goal?
Goals that are freely chosen, focused on what we want, not what we want to avoid, that are personally meaningful, and that we feel some sense of control over, those are the ones that will boost our happiness and energy. And they don't have to be huge goals. Smaller, incremental goals can be just as effective.
It's about finding goals that truly matter to us and feeling empowered to work towards them. Okay, let's move on to meaning, that sense of being part of something bigger than ourselves. It sounds like a core ingredient for a truly fulfilling and energized life.
It really is. While simple pleasures can bring temporary happiness, meaning provides deeper, longer-lasting satisfaction, it's about connecting with something beyond our own individual needs. It could be family, friends, work, volunteering, learning, nature, spirituality, or faith. Anything that makes life feel significant.
The Greeks called this eudaimonia, right?
Yes. Aristotle described eudaimonia as a state of human flourishing and deep happiness that comes from striving for our best selves and living a purposeful life. And meaning is essential for achieving eudaimonia. Research shows that meaning is linked to a whole bunch of good stuff. Positive emotions, optimism, stronger relationships, even physical health benefits like a lower risk of heart disease and a stronger immune system. It's like a wellspring of inner energy and strength.
Wow, so it's not just about feeling good, it's actually good for our physical health, too.
Exactly. And it can even help us deal with difficult times. People with a strong sense of meaning tend to experience fewer negative emotions, cope better with stress, and are less likely to develop things like depression or anxiety. It can even help people find growth after trauma.
So meaning can be a buffer against the tough stuff.
Yes, it helps us weather the storms. And our work can be a big source of meaning for many people. When we feel like our work matters, it boosts our overall satisfaction with life.
So how can we find or create more meaning in our lives?
Well, reflection is key, taking time to think about our experiences, our strengths, and our motivations. Helping others is a great place to start. Nurturing those other 10 keys we talked about, relationships, learning, goals, using our strengths, can all add to our sense of meaning. Even little things, like appreciating beauty in everyday moments or practicing gratitude, can deepen our sense of meaning. And, it's good to have several sources of meaning in our lives. That makes us more resilient.
It's like building a diverse portfolio of meaning. That makes sense. Okay, let's talk about the last key, the one that underpins all the others. Awareness or mindfulness.
Mindfulness is all about paying attention to the present moment. There's so much research showing that it reduces stress, helps us manage emotions, improves relationships, and increases happiness and calm. And it's something we can all learn.
It's a skill we can develop. And in today's busy world, with all the distractions from our phones and everything else going on, it feels more important than ever.
It is. It's about choosing where we focus our attention instead of being on autopilot. John Kabat-Zinn, a mindfulness expert, defines it as paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally.
And by being more present, we actually experience more, right? We notice the little things we might have missed otherwise.
Absolutely. Mindfulness also helps us deal with difficult thoughts and emotions. It creates a space between us and those experiences so we can observe them and choose how we respond rather than just reacting automatically. Learning mindfulness often involves meditation, focusing on our breath. Even a few minutes a day can make a difference. And there are tons of resources out there, guided meditations, apps, courses. But it's important to note that if you have any mental health concerns, you should talk to a professional before starting a mindfulness practice.
And the research on mindfulness is really impressive, showing benefits for our mental, emotional, and physical health.
Totally. It's linked to increased happiness, better sleep, lower stress, and can even help manage symptoms of anxiety, depression, and chronic pain. And it's not just relaxation. Mindfulness is about being actively aware.
Active awareness. So there are lots of ways to incorporate it into our daily routines.
Absolutely. Paying attention to our senses, bringing our awareness back to our breath, even something as simple as really looking at a tree, it can all be very grounding.
And that brings us to compassion and caring for ourselves and others. That connection seems so important for creating a more positive and energized world.
It is. While traditional mindfulness practices focus on non-judgmental awareness, there are also compassion-focused practices, like loving kindness meditation, that specifically cultivate kindness towards ourselves and others. And research shows that both kinds of practice can boost our well-being, strengthen our relationships, and even make us more likely to help others.
So, to wrap things up, we've really explored a ton of really interesting stuff today. It's incredible to see how much evidence there is for all these practical ways to cultivate a more energized, optimistic, and fulfilling life. And they all work together,
They
right?
do. They all reinforce each other. It's like a recipe for a truly vibrant life.
So, as you're listening, think about what really resonated with you today. Was it gratitude, the importance of connection, or maybe the growth mindset? Pick one or two things we talked about and try putting them into practice this week. And here's something to think about. What kind of positive ripple effect can you create in your own life and in the lives of others by bringing a little more positive energy and optimism into the world? Thank you so much for joining us today.